Hey Rubies, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special video because the dance studio that I teach at has competition coming up, and I'm going to be making a video for the dancers and their parents and whoever else might need a little reminder about what their competition makeup should look like. So we're gonna get started. So first we're going to start with the eyes. So you have a couple different options when it comes to starting with your eyes. You can use your concealer if you have some, or you can use an actual eyelid primer. It's really up to you. I generally like using my concealer, but for today, let's use the actual eyeshadow primer. You just squeeze a little bit on to your lid. And then I'm just going to use my beauty blender to blend that in. I just want to put it all over the eyes just so your eyeshadow has something to stick to. And I'm going to give that a second to dry. But while I do, I'm actually going to use a primer on my face just to make my foundation last a little bit longer. This is not a step that you have to do, but if you don't feel like going out and buying a primer, you can just use regular old lotion, but I'm just going to be using the Smashbox primer. I just put it right onto my hands and then rub it into my skin like you would a lotion. You just want to put a barrier between your natural skin and the makeup on top, just because it can be super drying, and when you sweat you're in it all day. So I literally just all over the face. Okay, then we're gonna get started here. All right, so as my EIM dancers know, we will be using the Maybelline the City Mini palette. So we're just gonna go right in. This is exactly how Miss Tara did it during the makeup part of dress rehearsal. So we are going to get started with, these colors don't have names. We're going to use this brown shade right here, and we're just gonna put it in the crease of both lashes. Of both eyes. So I recommend dusting off your brush just so you don't have any extra fallout, but we also did not do our foundation yet for that reason. So you're just going to put it right in the crease. Right in there. And you want to use like windshield wiper motions. Sometimes it's better if the dancer closes their eyes just so that way you can see. Windshield wiper motions back and forth. Just want to keep going until it's all over the crease. And I'm going to do the other side. Just a little bit of tapping. Just all in the crease. So the goal of this is to make everything look nice and blended. Great. All right, next we're going to use this dark brown in the outer corner. So you want to be sure, this is where I switch my brush. I pick a smaller brush. For the regular eyeshadow, you just want to use an eyeshadow brush. But for the darker color, just for the outer corner, I switch brushes. You don't have to. You can use the same brush, but if you're going to use the same brush, I just recommend wiping it off in between colors so your colors don't get too muddy. But I'll explain why in a second. So I dipped it into the darker color, and I'm just going to put it in the outer corner because you want to make that like smoky eye effect. So I just like pack it in there with like patting motions, And you'll see why in a second. I'm gonna go back for more. This is a really cute little palette. This just gives the dancer's eye some dimension. Good, we're gonna do the other eye, and then I'm gonna blend it out. I'm gonna show you how to do that. In the outer corner again. Don't take it too far, just pat it in there. I don't want to go too crazy. I personally love doing my eyeshadow. I really enjoy the whole process of blending, but some people don't. Some people this is like a tedious task, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna have a fun time doing it. Okay, so as you can see, it is dark on the outside, right? So now I'm gonna take a clean brush. You don't have to do this, but I'm gonna take a clean brush, and I'm just gonna go in and blend everything together. I'm also going to go back in and do one more coat of the dark. But I like to blend it out in between, just because I like the depth it creates, but that's just me. Yeah, so I just like to use this little packer brush just to put everything in there. Not being too particular about, you know, making it looking clean or anything. Now we're gonna go back one more time. Yeah, you just want to blend it. When you blend, you want to do circular motions. Right. I'm going to go back in with that first brush that we used, if I can find it. I'm just going to put a little bit more of that light shade just in the front over here, just to make everything look the same. I'm going to go back in with that clean brush, just rebuff everything out. Just make it all look even. Cool. Next I'm going to go in with a different brush, and I'm going to go in with this color up here, and I'm going to put that in the inner corner of my eye just to give the eyes some pop. But I'm actually going to do the brow bone in just a second. I'm actually going to put color in my eyebrows with a product that you guys already have. We're going to use the same eyeshadow palette. The same exact eyeshadow palette. But first, before we even do that, I like to do now that my eyes are, at least the eyeshadow part is done, I am going to go in with my foundation. So, we have different foundations, you and I, but I'm going to show you the different ways that you can do it. So I am just going to put some foundation all over my face, just so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a brush on one side and then a beauty blender on the other, just so you can see the difference. I will show you in a second. As soon as I apply this, I am using two different foundations. I am just using very high coverage foundation, but you'll see why in a second. You just want to make sure that you're going to really blend everything together. So I'm going to do my brush on this side of my face just so you could see. I use circular motions. I think this is easier than using your hands. Then sometimes in the beauty blender even, don't forget to pull it down into your neck, because otherwise you're gonna look a little cray. Good. Just circular buffing motions. I like this flat top brush exactly for that reason. Just gonna blend it all in, make sure that you have no streaking. You want it all to look nice and even. Pull it down into your neck. Sometimes this foundation is not the best, so please excuse me if you see any spotting. I'm really just trying to get rid of this foundation. But all right, now I'm gonna go in on the other side. Just want to pull back into your hairline. Just want to cover all your bases. You want everything to be covered. Now I'm going to take my wet beauty blender or sponge, whatever you're using, and I'm going to use the fat side, and you're just going to do lots of little quick bounces, as they call it, all over the face. The only reason that I don't sometimes like this method is because it's just tedious. Like, I was so quick with the other side. And you know, you just don't want to let the foundation dry. See, because how this is like already drying. You just kind of have to, you know, when that happens, you don't want to bounce so much as you want to pull just a little bit. You just want to keep blending it all in. Sometimes you need a second coat. It really should be like a, I don't want to say thick, that's the wrong word. It should just be a nice layer of foundation. You don't want to see rosy cheeks underneath. You know, we're going to add the rosiness later. You know, but you do want to see just complete coverage. Yeah. So as you could tell, I did this half with the brush, this half with the Beauty Blender. Really no difference, except I feel like this side just took longer, but that's just because of the Beauty Blender. Not a big deal. Make sure you pull it down into your neck. If you feel like you need another coat, go for it. Wait till it dries, put some more on. Not a big deal, not the end of the world. All right, I feel like we're pretty good. So for those of you who are choosing to use concealer, you can, not, you don't have to, and that's your choice. But if you do, you have a bunch of different options, you can use like a liquid concealer, you can use a cream concealer. I just put it under, I'm only gonna put it under my eyes. I just do a couple dots here, 2, 3, and I'm gonna use the Beauty Blender on this side and a brush on this side just to show you the difference. It really, like I said, it really is up to you. It's all preference, but you're gonna use the pointy side of your Beauty Blender. And then we'll go back to our eyes really quick after this because we're going to just keep using that same palette. But you do just want to put it underneath the eye just to get rid of any dark circles that you might have. Because we all know being up that early can be super tiring for a long competition day. Or if it's a 3-day weekend or even nationals, you know by day 3 or 4 that you are a little tired. Okay, so that's pretty blended in. And I'm going to use a smaller flat top brush on this side to just put the concealer in. I prefer the brush, honestly, but that's just me. If you like using your Beauty Blender or even your fingers, like you could totally do that, but it's completely up to you. I just personally think the coverage is a little bit nicer when you use a brush, but like I said, it's just my opinion. All right. I don't know if you could see the difference, but this is the side with the brush and this is the side with the Beauty Blender. And I just feel like this side is a little bit more, I just like the coverage is a little bit nicer on this side than it is on this side. I use the same exact concealer, it's just how I applied it. I generally apply it with this brush actually, just a small flat top brush. We're gonna do our actual brows first. This is not something you have to do, but I just think that it really finishes the look of the face, and I'm gonna use this same palette again. Depending on your hair color, if you're more blonde, you might wanna use this top one, but darker hair like me, or if you just like a darker brow look, I'm gonna use the bottom one. I'm taking a flat brush. I don't know if you could see, but it's just a flat angled brush to just brush it through the eyebrows. So I'm just gonna dip this in, and then you just wanna use hair-like strokes, mimicking your actual normal eyebrow. Super easy. Now, if you wanna go out and get an actual brow product, I have a few that I recommend. I think the easiest to use is the pomade, or the ones that look like mascara, like the brow gel. It comes in a little tube like, mascara does, and Ulta sells them. You can get like, I'm sure CoverGirl does too, Maybelline, and you just brush it through the brows, and it just gives them a little bit of extra volume. Your brows always want to be less dense in the front. You want it to mimic your actual eyebrows, like how your actual hair is. So I'm just brushing it through, and I'm giving it just, that defined edge over here. Like I said, this is not something you have to do, but I just think that sometimes it, it finishes the line really nicely. And then my other option for, what you could do for brows is you could just buy a brow pencil. Anastasia Beverly Hills makes one. It is a little bit on the pricier side, but I mean, that's just, that's only if you want to. Yeah, so you just color in your natural eyebrow, and there we have it. So I'm just gonna do the other eye really quick. My tip is to make the line underneath first, to like carve out the brow, and then I just fill in after that. But you always want to use short strokes. You don't want to color it in like you're coloring with a crayon. You want to mimic the lines of your actual eyebrow. And then you obviously want to just try to get them to be even. Yeah, you don't want one eyebrow being darker than the other. I definitely think this one's a little bit darker. Normally, I would probably go with this amount. Like this color, nope, that's not the right word. This thickness, like I would probably never every day wear my personal eyebrows this dark. I used to, and I don't anymore. I like the more natural looking brow, but that's just preference. But on stage, with the lights washing you out, you do want to go just a little bit heavier. So like I said, just keep mimicking those natural brush strokes. And like I said, this is not something you have to do. Like the minis don't necessarily need to do this, but the juniors, if you feel like you'd like to, you're more than welcome. Yeah, like I said, you just want to mimic the natural strokes of your brushes. Excuse me, of your actual eyebrows. But yeah, this is just using the City Mini palette. And then I'm gonna do one more thing with the City Mini, two more things with the City Mini palette. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna do is I am now actually going to go back in and now just put some highlight under my brow bone, which is the same color that I did on the inner corner. Just put it right on the brow bone. Just give it some definition, some color, some shimmer. Right, perfect. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is setting powder. Ooh, that's a lot. I personally like to dump some in the lid, so you don't use too much like I just did. You know, this is not the same brand as you have, but it still works. So we're going to just apply it to the whole face. You don't want to use too much. You don't really want to inhale this stuff. But you just want to apply it to the whole face, just to get any shine out of the way. And this is a good way that you can just reapply later. Like, you know, if you notice that you're getting kind of sweaty or whatever, you can just, or your dancer's getting sweaty, you can just reapply to the whole face, and it just gives a nice mattifying effect. That way you don't have to redo your entire look for the whole day. I mean, touch-ups are obviously necessary, but this is a good way to touch up that doesn't, you know, won't really mess up too much stuff. Ooh, this stuff is getting everywhere. Like, look at my hands. Ah! Okay. Next, we're going to move forward. We're going to keep going. I actually really would like to just blend this side out a little bit. That's just personal. I just don't like how messy it looks over here. That's just me wanting to be a perfectionist. I'm just blending it out over here, and I'm going to do a little bit over here. All right, let's continue on with the eyes. So, a wing is not necessary, just a nice strong line on the top. So I'm going to do a liquid eyeliner on this side and then a regular eyeliner on this side. Both are equally fine, just whatever you prefer. You just want to do a nice thin line on top, just right on top. You don't really want to mess up anything that you did. A wing is not necessarily unnecessary. You just want a thin line. My tip for winged eyeliner, if you're not doing it on yourself, is to have them close their eye, and then you can have your dancer just gently pull the corner of their eye, and it just gives you a nicer, smoother way to apply the line, you know, the eyeliner. But if you're doing it on yourself, some people close this eye and do it. Like, that's just another way to do it. I don't. I like to look at it because I'm crazy. And then this is going to be, so this is the liquid. Looks like a liquid eyeliner. This side is just regular gel. I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. I'm personally not the biggest fan of regular eyeliner. I like a liquid better. I just think it's easier to work with. I just personally struggle a little bit with a regular eyeliner. But it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect because you are going to be applying your, you're going to be applying your fake eyelashes. Don't panic. I have some tips. Okay, ooh, it's rough over here. Like I said, same thing. I just prefer the way this one looks, but that's completely up to you guys, just depending on what you buy. Okay, let's keep going. I am going to use the City Mini palette again. I am actually going to use a small clean brush. I'm going to dip it into this brown shade right here. I am just going to warm up my cheeks a little bit. This is not something you have to do. Just give it some glow. You want to just go off the line of your ears. I know I look crazy, just bear with me. You want to go off the line of your ears. Now you can do this same thing using bronzer. I'm just trying to use all things that you guys might already have. And you just want to warm up the face. So then I'm just going to take just a bigger brush and I'm just going to blend it all out a little bit just to give some dimension to your dancer's face. You don't have to do this. This is just something that showing you ways you could do if you used, you know, that eyeshadow palette a little bit more. Just something to think about. Just adds a little bit extra dimension. You don't have to do that. You can also choose a lighter color. It's really whatever you want. Keep blending. Sometimes too you can use your fingers if you feel like stuff's not blending. You can use your beauty blender. Just thought that I would show you something else you could do with the City Mini palette. The next thing we're going to do is blush. You are going to apply the blush. This is my trick with blush. I used to be really scared of blush, but this is my trick. Smile and check. So you smile, right? That's pretty easy. Then you're gonna check. I do a little dot here, and then I just check. Make sure to blend it. That's all I'm gonna say. You want to give a little bit of a rosy look. You don't want kids to be the kids to be washed out. A little dot, and then check. You just really want to make sure you blend it. You do not want to look like a clown. Less is more with blush. I always say start little with a little bit and then apply if you need more. But I would just say, just keep blending. I also like to put a little under my nose. I don't know why. Somebody I watch on YouTube does it. I really don't have an explanation. Then next, the last thing we're going to do with the City Mini palette is we're going to take this pinkish shade right here. And we're going to apply it as highlighter. So I'm just taking a bigger brush, dipping it in, and applying it to the tops of my cheekbones. I also like to apply it to the tip of my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. Next, what do we have left? While I do my lashes, I'm going to put a lip primer on, which is really nothing. You can use a lip primer, chapstick, whatever you have. I just like to let it sit in just a little bit because, you know, those lips need some hydration. Lipstick sticks better with some hydrated lips. Okay, this is just lip primer, nothing serious. Like I said, you can also use chapstick. Okay, eyelashes. Don't panic. The first thing I'm going to say about fake eyelashes is you want to get the ones with the thicker band because the thinner band doesn't hold as much glue and you have a lot of stuff on your eyelid right now and it's not going to stick. So I recommend something with a thicker band. I also recommend doing your mascara before you put your eyelashes on just because I personally don't like doing it after I have the fake eyelashes on because then you're putting mascara into your fake eyelashes and then you don't get as many uses out of them unless you clean them, and some of these cheaper ones are not meant to be cleaned per se. So I'm just gonna apply some mascara quickly. Whatever mascara you have works fine. Shameless plug here. CoverGirl is now completely cruelty-free, so, you know, I am a huge advocate of that. So if you need a good mascara, I recommend them just because they are cruelty-free. The best trick that I have for applying mascara to little ones is just tell them to tilt their head up and look up. And that way you can get as much on as possible without getting it on them. But you also don't need a lot because you are putting the fake eyelashes on. Okay. Before I apply to the bottom lid, I forgot something. So Miss Tara really likes using the same shade. She does not like using eyeliner on the bottom lid. So she just likes that if you were to pull the, sorry, I didn't even tell you what I was doing. This darker shade from the outer corner of the eye, just putting it on the lash line and pulling it halfway through to about the middle of your eye, so it gives you a nice clean look. Pretty simple. Same thing on this side. Remember, it's gonna look crazy to you up close, but these kids are gonna be on stage, so you want them to have, be able to see that you just spent time putting makeup on them, so they don't look washed out. Okay, now, fake eyelashes. These are my few tips. When you're pulling them off the packaging, don't just pull from a side. I like to take my finger and pull as much off at the same time as possible, because I feel like that is how you don't wreck the lash, especially if these are lashes that you plan on reusing and not just throwing away after today. Lately, I personally have been using magnetic lashes, but I haven't tried dancing with them, so I don't recommend that until I test that further. I just don't know if the lashes would stay or not. So my next trick is to hold it up to your dancer's eye, and if the lash is too long and goes out further than their natural eye, you want to snip some of it off with a little pair of little tiny scissors, but you want to snip from the outside to the inside, because as you could tell with these ones, well, maybe you can't tell, but these are like a cat eye, so it's shorter in the middle and shorter on the inside, longer on the outside. So my trick would be to do the outside first. I prefer Duo. I like the Duo Lash Glue. And I like this applicator the best. You can use the squeezy kind. I just think this makes for the least amount of mess as possible. I just paint it on the whole band of the lash. So I like this white one because you know when it's good to put it on. It goes on blue. It does not dry blue. Don't be stressed. So I put a little bit on. I don't know if you could see, but it's blue. Maybe you could see. I like to blow on it a little bit. Once it's a little bit dry, I take it in my hand. I close my eye. I go from the top down, and then I push it into where it's supposed to go. Don't know why I did my left eye first. I feel like I'm better with my right eye first, but it's fine. So I go from the top down. Try to line it up as best as possible. And you want to get it as close to your natural eyelash as possible. It's always better to let the glue be a little tacky before you put it on, but like it's that simple. You know, the minis or the juniors, whenever I do their eyelashes, I tell them to sit still and keep their eyes closed so the glue will get tacky, and then that way you can just work on doing both at the same time. So I'm going to quickly put the other one on. I will show you again what I did just so it's super simple. I also have a video dedicated just to doing lashes. If that's something that you just need the most help with, I, recommend that, not just because it's my video, but just because, I just go into a little bit more depth. So like I said, I just brush it onto the band. I could not remember what that was called. Give it a second. I blow on it a little bit. All right, and then once the blue starts to go away, see how it's starting to go away? I don't know if you could see, but same thing. I am going to, let me try to come in a little bit closer so you could see. I just don't want to get too far away. Okay, so I'm gonna go up to down. So I'm holding it in my hand. I'm gonna go up to down, getting as close to my eye as possible, and then pressing it in right on the line where you did your eyeliner. It's that simple. I think it's easier to do on yourself than it is on someone else. Personally, that's my opinion. That might not be true for everyone, but that's how I feel. All right, so eyelashes are done. That's simple. You can put a little bit of mascara on the bottom of your eyelashes if you want, but that's up to you because you have that stuff underneath. I'm gonna do just a little bit, You don't wanna do it like normal. I just tap my brush on my lashes, and then that's as far as I get. That's as much as I do every day, always, forever on my bottom lashes. All right, last thing is our lipstick. So we use this and the glitter. Don't panic, I have some tricks. So you wanna put this all over your lips like you would normal lipstick. Remember, you just put that other stuff on, so everything's gonna be okay, I promise. So, just like normal lipstick, you put it on. You will have more luck if you sharpen it first. Sharpeners find them anywhere. Ulta sells them. You could use a regular pencil sharpener as long as you can find a hole that's big enough. I mean, obviously don't use one that has they've already sharpened a pencil with. You know, keep that one just for makeup. Okay, now that that's on is the part that almost everyone stresses out about. Where's the lid? Is the part that almost everyone stresses out about, but don't stress. You need the glitter and you need a Q-tip. This is the best way you can apply this. So, because this is not my glitter, I'm not just gonna keep dipping my, oh God, thing in. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, there's open glitter on my bed. Okay, so you're gonna dip the glitter, I just put it in the lid. You're gonna dip the glitter in, sorry, the Q-tip into the glitter. Oh my God, I'm gonna make a mess on my bed. Okay, and then you just tap it on. It's that simple. It looks so nice on stage. I'm just stressed about getting this all over my bed. I really don't want to be sleeping in red glitter. And you just want to cover the entire area that you put the lipstick on with the glitter. If this was my glitter, I would test out other ways to try this. I wonder if you could just like, well, maybe that's not a good idea. Never mind. The only thing I would say is be careful when applying the lipstick with the Q-tip, because as you can see over here, it bled a little bit. Not bled, but like, you know, started to come over into my foundation. So the only thing that I would say, honestly, is if you could get a lip liner that maybe is the same shade red, I think that that might be your best bet. Just to line the lips, just so then that way it doesn't bleed. You could, excuse me, you could also go back through with an angled brush like this and your concealer, and once your lipstick is done, you can go back in and clean up the edges a little bit. That's completely up to you. The last thing that I truly recommend is going to save your life is setting spray. You don't have to go out and buy this if you don't already have it. They range from, you know, you can get the Urban Decay All Night Setting Spray, and that I think that's like 30 bucks. You could get this, I think this is $7. It's NYX brand, it's great, I use it. It's affordable, and it's basically like hairspray for your face, but it's gonna keep all of your makeup in place even through sweating. Obviously the more expensive the one you buy, the better off, you know, the better the product it's gonna be, but I use this when I perform and I put on my makeup, and I sweat a lot and I have no problems with it. So all you wanna do is you wanna hold it away from your face, you wanna close your eyes and don't breathe, but you don't wanna close your eyes and make a face because then your makeup's gonna set like that. You wanna just close your eyes naturally and you wanna spray. I'll show you. And that's it. That's really that simple. This is our finished product. This is what you're gonna look like for competition, and I hope you're super excited. So if you have any questions, or there's anything else I can help you out with, or anything you're not sure about, please feel free to reach out to me. Most of my dancers have a way to get in contact with me, or Miss Tara. You know, we're all a huge help. If there's anything else that we can do, please feel free to reach out. If you have any questions at competition when I'm there, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to help out because I love makeup and I love you guys. So that being said, this is the finished product. Have a wonderful competition season, and I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.